So I'm going to start with the bony structures first. So we have the ilium right here, then we have the anterior superior iliac spine, which is right on your hip bones, and then we have the anterior inferior iliac spine, which is like right here, and then we have the iliac crest, which is up here, and then we have the posterior superior iliac spine, and that's like the eyes of the back right there, and then we have the iliac fossa, which is the big part of the ilium. You can't really palpate it, but it's like the big part of the ilium. And then you have the ischium, which is like right here. And then we have the ischial tuberosity, so can you lift up your leg? And it's, turn around. And it's like right underneath your butt right there. And then we have the pubis, which is right there. We have the femur. We have the greater trochanter, which is right here. And we have the lesser trochanter, which is right inside the leg. And then we have the pectineal line, which is down here. And then we have the intertrochanteric line, which is up here near the neck. And then we have the intertrochanteric crest, which is right around here. And we have the linea aspera, which is the back of the leg on the hamstring. And then we have the sacroiliac joint, which is right in here. You can put your fingers and you can feel it like sitting on the back. Okay, now I'm going to do the muscles. So to start, we're going to do the psoas major, which is right here, followed by the iliacus, which is right below it. The origins are all lumbar vertebrae, transverse processes, chi 12, and all lumbar vertebrae for the psoas major. And then the iliacus is the iliac fossa. And then the insertion is the lesser trochanter, and it flexes the hip. And then we have the sartorius, which is right on the thigh. And the origin is the anterior superior iliac spine of the ilium. The insertion is the pes anserine, and that does hip flexion, abduction, and external rotation. And then we have the rectus femoris, which is the big muscle on your quad. The origin is the anterior inferior iliac spine. The insertion is tibial tuberosity, and then the action is hip flexion. And then we have the tensor fascia lata, or I don't know how to say it. And that's right up here. It later goes into the IT band, but it's right up here. The origin is the outer lip of the iliac crest. The insertion is a greater trochanter and IT band of the femur, and that goes to Gertie's tubercle of the tibia. And the action is hip flexion, abduction, and internal rotation. Yeah, internal rotation. And then we have the pectineus, which is right in here. It connects at the pubis, or it originates at the pubis. It inserts on the pectineal line, so right down here with the femur, and it adducts the hip. And then we have the biceps femoris, which is on the back of the leg. And there's a long head and a short head. The long head originates on the ischial tuberosity, and then the short head on the linea aspera of the femur. And then it inserts at the head of the fibula in the lateral tibial condyle. And that does hip extension. Yeah, hip extension. And we have the semitendinosus, which is also on the back. It inserts on the ischial tuberosity, and then originates on the pes anserine, and it also does hip extension as well. And then we have the semimembranous semimembranosus. It also originates on the ischial tuberosity, and then it inserts on the medial tibial condyle down there. Yeah. And then, okay, you can put your leg down. And then the action for that is hip extension and external rotation. Yeah. And then we have the piriformis, which is right under here. It originates on the sacrum, and then it connects on the greater trochanter of the femur, so it kind of goes across. And then that does hip extension and external rotation. Yeah. And then we have the adductor longus, so that originates on the pubic bone, and it inserts on the middle half of linea aspera, so it kind of like goes around, and it does hip adduction. And then the adductor brevis also originates on the pubic bone. It connects to the middle or proximal 1/3 of the linea aspera, hip adduction as well. And then we have the adductor magnus, which connects to the pubic bone or originates on the pubic bone and ischial tuberosity out back, and it inserts on the distal part of the linea aspera, and that also does hip adduction. And then we have the gracilis, which is another one that's right in here. It originates on the pubic bone, then it goes down to the pes anserine, where it inserts, and it does hip abduction. Yeah, abduction. And then the gluteus medius. Oh, I forgot that I'll do the gluteus medius first, and then I'll do that. Okay. The gluteus medius originates between the iliac crest and the anterior and posterior gluteal lines of the ilium. And then the insertion is the greater trochanter over here, and it does hip adduction and internal rotation. And then we have the gluteus maximus, which is the biggest part of the butt. It originates on the sacrum, coccyx, and posterior line of the ilium and the iliac crest right up here. And it inserts at the gluteal line of the femur and the IT band, and that does hip extension and external rotation. Then we have the gluteus minimus, which is the bottom part of the butt, the small part. It originates on the anterior inferior gluteal lines of the ilium, and it inserts at the greater trochanter, and it does hip abduction. Yeah, abduction. And then we have the IT band, which is the big structure that runs right up and down the leg. It originates on the glute maximum and TFL, and it helps extend, and then it also helps to stabilize the knee.